funny friends, my funny friends, my funny friends now. My funny friends, my funny friends, my funny friends now.
Starring Drew Harrison and his funny friends.
All right, we are back for another episode of My Funny Friends, and I am very excited about this guest. We got to do comedy together in Wilmington, I believe, when he was still in the service. Now he's in Chicago. Today, I brought on Mr. John McCombs. John, how you doing, buddy?
Yo, what's up, Drew? Been a long time. Just saying, man. You still sound the same. Still got that, still got the Southern dude who hangs out with black people vibe to you.
I love it, man. That's what I'm going for. That's you nailed my brand like right there. It's perfect.
I want to be rude because we got somebody else on the podcast with you, my friend, also from Chicago. I met him when I was in going to school. He was going to school at U of I at the time. First time I saw him was when I came back. Andrew Shankland also on the podcast too.
Andrew, Whoa. Thank you for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So what did you always start in Chicago? Did you start out in Chicago and didn't move there, like you were already there?
Well, I think John and I both started in Champaign just at different times, and then moved to Chicago. But we moved to Chicago around the same time, I believe.
Okay. What years did y'all start doing comedy?
I started in 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, I was January 2010.
Nice. All right. Now, you said you both John, so you started out in Illinois before we met in Wilmington.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Champaign.
Well, both of you guys tell me how starting out in Illinois is with comedy.
Andrew, you go first.
Okay. Yeah, well, when I started in 2015, there were only a couple open mics. I was in college. So I could get up like once a week, and I did that as much as I could. And then, I mean, I think it was more good than bad to like have to take time in between. Like, it is nice being in Chicago and be able to do like one or two open mics every night. But when I was starting, I had to take a lot more time to like write in between. So I was always trying to push myself to come up with new stuff, which was good. And it was like a small scene, so you never really felt too overwhelmed.
Nice. And did you feel that with the smaller scene that, kind of the expectation was to have like newer stuff every week?
That's kind of what I felt, but
okay.
I also feel that way even in a bigger scene. So
good. Yeah. I mean, I feel like John can attest to this too. In Wilmington, we had this similar situation where our big deal was the Thursday night mics. So you had all week to get ready for it.
We were spoiled. Mic. You get a full ass room and 100 audience.
They would have
members.
been.
100 audience members coming out just to watch an open mic. It was insane. It was honestly insane. But I recognized it being like I mean, the open mics at Champaign were fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but I recognized that for what it was at the time. I'm like, everybody here is spoiled. Getting to actually go up in front of audiences. But yeah, I mean, when I started out in Champaign, the scene was a lot younger. So I think it had been maybe 6 months old by the time I had started. So there was only one open mic.
Gotcha.
And it was weekly, but it was like a open mic, but it was booked. Okay. So you had to book yourself. Maybe you get up once a month. And then back in those days, I was getting up maybe every other month. So, and while I was at school, so it was very very sporadic, excuse me. But it was still well attended. It's still a lot of fun. But yeah, I try to have new material every time.
Yeah, no, I feel like I don't know, like starting out in a smaller scene, I feel like you can go one of two ways. You can push yourself and push each other to have that new material, or you can be like, well, we know he's going to do the same 4 minutes
I love being in a smaller scene, dude, because
Yeah.
like I couldn't imagine starting out in Chicago. On one hand, I'm like, well, man, maybe I could be further along than I am right now. But I'm also like, a lot of the bad habits I had back then, a lot of this stupid shit I said would have held me back from opportunities I'm currently getting because I don't know, people would have saw me and be like, he sucks, or he does this stupid shit. Like you have, at least in a small scene, the ability to be a little more fearless, I feel like, because it doesn't matter. You know, if you
Yeah.
fuck up, you've tried
Right.
something new, say some crazy shit, it's not going to come back to haunt you. In a bigger scene where it's a little more, there are more opportunities, it's more clout, people talk a little bit more. I think it's a little bit more difficult. People are more aware of like trying to not be too, like offensive or something like that, you know.
No, I got you. Andrew, what's been your favorite part about Chicago comedy?
I really like the community in Chicago a lot. It took me like a while to kind of like meet people, I feel like, and make more than just a couple of friends here. But now that I've been in the city a couple of years, I think everyone here is actually pretty supportive compared to other places, especially like in big cities. And it's really nice to like feel that wherever you go, you're gonna know at least one person like in the
Nice.
city. And then even when you go to other cities like Chicago, there is kind of like a camaraderie between people who have been in Chicago, where like, you know, even if you weren't good friends, when you go to New York or LA, people are always willing to like let you crash on couches and vouch for you on shows, which I think is really cool.
Yeah,
We do call
It's
him the
pretty close.
bad boy of Chicago comedy.
uh-oh.
Well, wait, me? Yeah, I
I
am.
want to hear more about this. How'd this come about?
Well, he comes out at Mike's. He's got that big dick energy at Mike's now.
All right. Okay. All right. Swinging it all around at open mics. I hear you, man.
Uh-huh. I've
But
been
no,
around too long to not throw my weight around.
I hear you. I hear you. What about you, John? What's your favorite part of the Chicago scene?
Oh man, I honestly, I like the fact that there's just stage time and like you can get some quality stage time. It's like the way I look at it, it's got a lot of the positives of a bigger scene like New York or LA without the drawbacks of being like you have people paying for mics, a lot of bringer shows, you know, shit like that, where it's like, yeah, you can get on stage, but it's also like people are trying to hustle you out of money and shit like that.
Gotcha.
So, and not like the regular audience members aren't burnt out on comedy and shit. They're smart, but they're not like, you don't have to bark necessarily to get people to come.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
Yeah.
I hate that. God, I hate that so much.
Is that what they do in Nashville?
No, God, no. And I'm so thankful for it.
Okay.
People come out to shows, man, and it's nice.
I mean, I do it. I've done it before, and honestly,
Yeah. I'm not.
But
I'm not above it, but I just don't want to.
see, what I do is I wear a costume. That way, I don't have to deal with the fucking embarrassment of people knowing who the fuck I am. You know?
Genius. That's
Yeah.
genius.
That
That's
is
a good
really
idea.
smart.
You just changed the game of barking up for everybody.
Yeah, I
That's
was like,
awesome.
why is people just out here like coming to the comedy show? It's like, no, who the fuck are you? You know, you come out wearing a green man suit, and people all of a sudden you're like, hey, you know, you dance and shit like that. You do whatever you want.
I like it. I like it. So Nashville's kind of got shaken up. I mean, everybody got shaken up with the quarantine and all that stuff, and we had quite a few transplants move here. Did y'all have the same? Was anybody abandoning LA and New York and coming to Chicago?
I think a lot more people were like moving to Chicago that would have moved anyway.
Okay.
So like when things finally started back up, there were a handful of people who were new in the scene. At least it's kind of what I've noticed.
Gotcha.
We got a lot of people who came back.
Okay. Yeah.
Like a lot of people came back from like New York because they got well, you know, they got hit hard, and you know, they were super they were a little more stringent with the quarantine and the capacity limits in Chicago was. So our clubs were open before theirs were. So a lot of people who had moved there I saw come back. Are they going to move back? I think so. We did have some people like leave to Austin and shit, but otherwise
we had a couple exodus to
Honestly,
Austin.
like it's funny because like stand up took over Chicago because Chicago used to be like the improv city,
Yeah.
and then IO shut down. Second City got sold, so all these big improv theaters got fucked by COVID, and then we opened up more stand up comedy
Yeah.
clubs. So it was kind of crazy how it's like stand up had this boom since improv kind
Fell
of
off
dwindled.
completely, pretty much.
Yeah, it just
Improv
diminished.
had to die to make way.
Hell yeah.
I love it, man.
That's what's up.
Nice. Well, how is Chicago now? You know, what I mean, as most things open up, you got to wear like vax card. Like, what's the situation for doing comedy now?
Yeah, it's everything is at full capacity. You have to wear a mask indoors, unless obviously like you're eating or whatever. Um, but yeah, everything's open up. Some places are like you have to have a vax card. Some places, it's kind of like the venue owner's discretion whether they check it or not. But yeah, everything's kind of 100% right at the moment.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, good. What I was gonna ask, what is like what's the big shows that people know from Chicago? Like, what's the thing? Like, if you're like, what if you move to Chicago? What's like your I want to knock this off of my goal list.
Yeah. I mean, being in at any of the clubs is usually kind of one of the things people really try to do. Laugh Factory and Zanies especially. And then now there's the Lincoln Lodge opened up like a theater now.
Okay, nice.
So the Lincoln Lodge is kind of a long running independent show in Chicago. So that's kind of another thing that people pursue. And then Comedians You Should Know is kind of another one of the bar shows that's pretty sought after.
Yeah,
Nice.
there's some pretty good independent shows out there. I think CYSK is probably the most known, or at least like the most that has a presence in New York, and I think they used to have one in LA. I'm not sure if they still do.
I don't know if they still do, yeah, but they did.
Yeah, but they do have a other show in New York. But yeah, I'd say Zanies and the Laugh Factory are like the big clubs in town. Zanies being like the homegrown one.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that people want to get up on.
Nice. Yeah, our comedy bar here is taking a hiatus. There.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, they're the place that they were in closed down. So I think they're trying to
Damn.
find.
All right, I played
gigs.
there. What was it? I think I was in Nashville in May, maybe or April.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I did comedy bar while I was there.
yeah. It was an odd room from time to time, but it was a room nonetheless. It was, you
Bro,
had
it's just people don't. The whole thing about comedy bar is like people wanting to laugh after they just ate a Chicago deep dish.
Yeah.
It's just
Fair.
they're full of bread and sauce and beer. Like
Yeah.
they want to nap.
They might as well be in a recliner with their head back while trying to laugh at your shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we had. How is it? Is it a lot of? Are there a lot of shows in Chicago? We have this in Nashville that since it's such a tourist city, a lot of our shows are based off of our tourists going to come out to this.
Comedy bars like that, but not a ton of other places.
Okay.
Yeah, it's mostly people from the city, from the suburbs even. But also on that, there's a big suburbs community too. That's like, I mean, just as if not just as important, I think, as like the shows and the comedy scene in the city itself. Because I mean, I do a lot of work in the city, but I do more work in the suburbs and more, I would say, financially
Yeah.
beneficial work in the suburbs. That's, I do a show in the city for $10.
Right.
I go 10 miles outside the city and I make 50.
Right. I was going to ask, is there a little circuit you can kind of plan? Like do a little
circuit is just you kind of just try to get booked wherever you can.
I got you.
Yeah. So.
Have you guys anybody? I know it's a weird way of getting about, but have you either one of you guys done gig salad?
No, we have there are a couple of people in this scene that really do make their like bread and butter off it.
Yeah, it has put me in some weird but kind of awesome situations. Like at the same time, like don't get me wrong, some of them have been god awful, but
people do stand up at like hibachi grills and stuff.
I did
Well,
a
I had
sweet 16 birthday party. That was something.
I had a guy help. Well, he wanted me to open for him for a couple of gigs he had through Gig Salad. So I think that's the closest exposure I got.
Yeah.
But I
What you're
mean,
kind of walking into.
they weren't bad shows. I mean, some of
No.
these were like corporate style gigs, and part of me is like, damn, man, this is what you're getting for doing Gig Salad. Like, I'll do this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They only take like I think 10%, something like that. So it's something to look at. Another resource, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, tell me more about this this abroad.
Yeah,
This
well, as you can see, Makeaway Comedy Special right up there, and that's yours truly. Hold on, I gotta mirror it. There we go. There's me. Yeah. So, end of the year, I'm going over to Tallinn, Estonia, to record my first special. It's gonna be out on YouTube. Gonna chop it all up, like 5-ish minute segments. But yeah, it's called the Makeaway Comedy Special. Named it because, Andrew, you'll appreciate this. You're a scholar. When Hannibal was going to cross the Alps, he said, "I'm going to find a way or make a way." And so I looked at that as how I view comedy, especially in COVID times. Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm going to record a special, and I'm going to find a way or make a way. So that's kind of the theme here for this special. But recording it overseas, going to put it on YouTube. Should be available early 2020 or early 2022. Sorry. Out in trying to aim for January. So
love it, man. That's awesome. Are you gonna have like a run attached to your special, or are you like what?
Yeah.
Walk me through that.
So I'm starting in Helsinki, Finland. And then the next show is down in Vilnius, Lithuania. Then going to Riga, Latvia. And then I have a show in Tartu, Estonia. And then 2 shows in Tallinn, Estonia. Those 2 shows are the ones that I'm going to record. So I know I just threw a lot of words out there that people don't understand. But they're all places, I swear to God, that it's in the Baltics, which is in northeastern Europe, kind of close to Russia, like sandwiched between like Poland and Russia. Up in the little corner there. So yeah, it's I've been out there before.
I was going to ask, have you been to these places?
Oh yeah, and they're terrific. That's part of why I was like, dude, I want to do a show. I want to record my special out there because I know the guys out there, the producers, are super professional. They know their shit. I've seen the work they've done with other guys have recorded hour-long specials out there. More local guys, but it's a professional looking product. It looks terrific. And the crowds, they all speak English, or for the most part, they all speak English, or at least understand it. And they're smart. They're comedy savvy, and the comedy scene over there is like 10 to 12 years old, so they're not burnt out yet. Like they don't. It's like
still
it's
fresh
like,
and exciting.
Yeah, it's the cool thing to do. Like all the kids love it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's and they don't get like too drunk, and they don't heckle. So it's like the best of having. It's like having the best American audience, Okay. Some things you have to change up a little bit, but at the same time, it's good. It's terrific out there.
Nice. Yeah. Well, how did you guys cross paths? How did y'all come to become friends in comedy?
Well, I think we met in the suburbs actually right after you had gotten back from being in the service, right, John? I think that's what happened.
I think something like that. Like I'd seen you a time or two before down in Champaign, or at least I knew you were from there.
Yeah.
And then I don't really exactly remember the first time we met, but I remember like I'd see you at shows, and we just started hanging out, started talking, and yeah, it was. I mean, I like hanging out with interesting people,
Yeah.
And Andrew's one of the most interesting fucking people I've ever met.
Yeah, that's nice you just say.
Well, you got some weird, not weird, but like you got some peculiarities about yourself. Some things I know I helped shape. I got you to put paragraphs in between your jokes in your notebook.
That's true, yeah. No, I am kind of not.
This dude used to write through every single page. Just a block of text through multiple notebooks. I'm like, how do you even know where one joke ends and another begins? Man?
Yeah, here I've got them all right here.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have that one. Hold on.
But he only writes in notebooks. He's got like
I only write in notebooks. Yeah,
20 something notebooks full of jokes.
like there we go. That's just
Yeah, you
like
see
that.
Yeah.
no
Okay.
faces. This dude's got a manifesto. I'm like, bro, you gotta at least put some spaces in between these jokes, man.
Like just at least a little arrow where the new one starts or something.
Yeah. It's like looking at my notebooks is like the scene in Seven where they're going through Kevin Spacey's notebooks. That's what it's like.
It just looks like one train thought, just like
all play and all work and no play makes Andrew a dull boy.
No, it's more like, aren't we all sick, twisted little puppets that dance on a stage? That's what it says in Seven. And I was like, that actually sounds like something I would write as a bit.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna put you guys on the spot real quick before we get out of here. What is y'all's favorite joke that each other does?
Oh wow, that's a really good question.
Mm.
I need to think for a second. I have the one that came to my mind first, but I want to think before I settle on one.
Andrew, because sometimes some of my favorite moments you have on stage are when, like I've told you this before, well, like you'll riff on something that either didn't work, and then you'll just lead into like calling the audience a bunch of like crybaby bitches or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's like coming out of his voice, it sounds so like out of place, like him just this aggressive.
And it's like the joke is probably about like the Animaniacs or like it's never like an edgy joke.
Andrew plays to the three people in the crowd and knows what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah, it's always because I'm like talking about, I don't know, F. Scott Fitzgerald or like something that's stupid, and then, yeah.
Well, I do like the joke about I think it was because you're a teacher, you previously worked at another school that you fucking hated, and these kids were awful. And, like some kid like was almost made you cry or something like that. I forget how it went.
Kids are mean, man.
They're middle schoolers. They're middle schoolers in Chicago. Chicago public school middle schoolers. And you throw Clinton in there.
The future of roast battlers.
Yeah, basically. I like John had this joke. I haven't seen you do it in a little bit, but there was the joke about it's a guy, you're a guy who's a ballerina and is getting in a fight. I don't remember I don't remember all of it exactly, but I do remember that's the game of the joke. And it has a really funny act out.
Yeah, it's where I talk about being a Marine and how it's like if I get jumped by certain groups of people, I can't admit that happened. And so I was thinking, like, if I was going to jump people, I dress up as a ballerina because no one's going to admit to getting their ass kicked by a ballerina. And then I do this whole like act out of like doing dance moves and shit, like a ballerina. Yeah, I think I hung up that joke when I split my pants one time.
Oh,
so that would make me want to do it more, honestly. That's really funny.
It was a perfect moment. It was in like a contest show at the Laugh Factory, and I wish like because the Laugh Factory is huge, so I wish like the back audience, the people in the back saw what happened, because the people in the front immediately saw what happened. It was the funniest fucking thing to them.
Oh, I can imagine.
That is very good.
Oh, that is fantastic, man. I love it so much. One time you remember Lewis Bishop from Wilmington. Yeah. He did an act out on stage at an open mic at Nut Street. This is back Nut Street days, and he did an act out. And in the act out, the guy hurt his knee, and he real time hurt his knee doing the same thing, and immediately collapsed on the stage. And everyone there thinks he's doing the best act out ever, and we're like applauding, laughing, and then he doesn't get up. And Lou had to go help him get up, and he tore something. Of course, in true Bishop fashion, he didn't go to the doctor, but he tore something that night. He left it all on the stage.
I like your joke you had, Drew, about you were playing laser tag, I think, and you were like on acid or something.
Yeah, the little kid, God, I got to bring that back. I'm glad you
Yeah,
said
the
that.
kid's like, "You're dead." You're like, "I'm dead." Like the way you say it is fucking hilarious, dude.
Thank you. I forgot all about that joke. Thank you for bringing that back up. I did an old joke last night that I was like, okay, I got to put this back in the rotation.
Mhm.
All right. Well, what do you guys, Andrew? You got any projects or social media or anything you want to?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Mr. _show business. And
Love it.
then I run a show in Chicago first and third Saturdays. That is new material, 10 comics doing a new 5 minutes. John did that yesterday. And then I also help produce a show called Goldfish Tank, where it's comedic Shark Tank pitches. And that's
That is fantastic.
select Fridays, usually
Ah.
third Fridays in a month.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
John, what about you?
Well, I mean, obviously, I got my special, so check that out. Coming your way. If you know people in Finland or Estonia, tell them about me. You probably don't, but in case, otherwise, I do run a show in Chicago called Smoke Break. We're actually rebranding. It's going to be called Kicking It with Comics, starting and it's the first Thursdays of every month, 7 o'clock, excuse me, at the Lincoln Lodge.
Nice. Love it, guys. Thank you all so much for being on the show.
Well, thanks for having us.
me.
Yeah. Hit that subscribe button, guys. We'll see you next time.
My funny friends. My